and like, you're too noisy. And like, I said, you don't have to be around me.
Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on
A superficial
basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
You have to.
in order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of
the children. Hello viewers, welcome again to our favorite family show, The Living Room, right here at Equa Television International. My name is Amaka Ucheke, and we're continuing from our discussion the last time we were here, talking about raising godly children. We're talking about practical issues about raising godly children. And nicely enough, our guest has agreed to come again to give us plenty information that we require in raising our children. So we have with us here Dr. Ruth Ada, who is a pediatrician, a dermatologist. For those of you who don't understand the big grammar, she's a skin doctor for children, and also takes care of children. And then we have Mrs. Namo, Mrs. Ibe Namo, who we all know is an educationist, sorry, not, see now I'm speaking background grammar. She's an educationist. And also she does child psychology, so she knows what she's talking about here. So the last time we were here, we talked about raising children up to school age, just as they're about to start school. So we will dive right in, and we'll start with Dr. Ada again. So when our children are about to start school, what are the things we need to take into cognizance as regards their health, what we should prepare for, and what should be our expectations as children are going to school? Okay, and also at what age should they be going to school?
So,
I wanted to
so
keep
thank
down
God
from
that's
Mrs.
not my question. Well, we just started talking about that, yes. So school age is actually supposed to be between 5 and 6. That's what we call the school age in pediatrics. But we just learned that a lot of people are forcing their children to start learning
They start
formally.
going to school at 2.5
Yes.
1
years.
year,
Yes,
1
1
plus.
year.
The child is not talking yet.
Yeah. So school age is about that 6 years old, and then up to 12. That's the school age. Then after that, we now call the teenage or the adolescent age. So that school age, there are a lot of things happening. The child is developing, and there are many things that are happening in the child's brain and the child's body. In schools, they usually have what they have screening, and so those screening.
Not that they usually have, they should have.
They should have.
They
should
Many of
have.
our schools don't seem to
Yes,
have
Yeah,
those they
yeah.
should have. And then sometimes in our setting, it seems as if it's only secondary schools that do that, but it's actually supposed to be a school age health program. So that screening, you have to check the child's eyes, because it's very important. From then, the child starts learning, so you check the eyes. There are many refractive errors. Maybe an ophthalmologist will be able to tell us better. And then there are some things at that age you might just pick out. There are some silent cancers that you may not be able to know. You won't find out till they do some screening. So it's also good to do those screenings. We also want to do all these things like chest x-ray. It doesn't mean, because the child might not be having symptoms, but we do that because there are some silent things. The child can have silent TB and you will not know. So we can just pick out that. We do some things like what we call the Mantle test. We check for worms. In fact, that is very important. We have a national program that we're supposed to give deworming tablets to children 6 monthly. So like for me in my house, I do it every January and every July. Yes. So
Until what age?
for life.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
after
yes.
primary
So,
school, I stopped. with my children.
so we just deworm ourselves because of our environment. There are many ways worms come in, from eating and then from stepping on bare floors. The ova are there. So those are the basic things we do. At that age, remember, nutrition again is important. We've talked about it. The feeding is important. The snacks, we talked about water too. Sleep again. Sleep hygiene is very important. Screen time. maybe she'll talk more about that. What we want to achieve when the child is from toddler age, the child should be sleeping between 10 to 12 hours a day. And toddler age is about, let's say, 1 to 2 to 3 years. You should be sleeping almost half of the day. So as the child reaches that school age, that's when you will be talking of 10 hours. Then when we pass the school age, you can now negotiate between 8 to 10 hours. That's adolescent age. So that is very important. Sleep hygiene also about that age. If I'm missing something, you can.
So, Mrs. Namo, I know you are particular. When should children start going to school?
If you talk about when to start going to school, you're going to cause trouble.
Cause it.
Because
Cause the trouble. So that, no, because I want us to know the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Then if we decide to do what is wrong,
Yeah.
it's on us.
Yeah.
But it won't be because we don't know.
Yeah.
But let it be that we've been told the right thing to do. We refuse to do it. Well, whatever consequences we get
the
is up to
actual
us.
school age should be from 5. In fact, we actually brought it down to 5. It should be from 6. That's the actual school age. But I know that many schools have created nurseries, where because we're busy, we want to put our children, before they attain school age. So we have nurseries, we have play class, but the actual school age should begin from 5 years. And when you are sending your children to school, before the school age, you should be particular about what they are doing. When they tell you that your child is not writing well and he's 2 years old, I'm asking, what is he supposed to be writing at 2? At 3, what is he supposed to be writing? He's supposed to be in what they call play class or a nursery school. And in a nursery school, expectedly, it's supposed to be a place where they go to play, to have fun, to learn rhymes. Like she was talking about sleeping. They should provide them with beds, with mats. Children should not be timed in a nursery school where you say you sit from, I usually give an example of a little boy I used to know who comes, I don't know whether I've given it on this thing before. Yeah, who comes to school very excited, he's happy, he joins the assembly, he enters the class, he puts his box where he's supposed to put it, he's smartly dressed, but the moment he gets into the class, he puts his head on the table and he sleeps. And everybody thought he was sick. They called the mother. I remember that one of the teachers said, "Are you sure your son does not have tsetse fly?" I didn't understand what was going on, then when I was teaching in that school. But it was much later I realized that there's nothing wrong with that child. At that point, that child needs to sleep. So look for somewhere for that child. Put the child, let him sleep. When he finishes, you tell him, see your table and your work there. Go and do your coloring. Go and do whatever you want to do. We shouldn't put a time on them when they are not of school age. It is from school age we start making things more formal. From 6 years old, when they start learning how to read and how to, So school age is something that we need to be very careful when we're making choices for our children.
Now, there's something that came to me as Dr. Ada, we were talking about the number of hours our children should sleep. Now, if you see the homework children come home with, there is no way these children can have 10 hours of sleep with the amount of homework they come home with. Some of the homework they come home with will need 3 to 4 hours. With the help of parents, with the children alone, with the help of parents and internet to get the homework done. So please, how do we juggle that?
I think that schools should be cautioned, because you see, we think that we are helping the children to learn, but sometimes we are killing the dreams of these children. The children get exhausted, they get tired, they get frustrated. At a point, they begin to even hate the idea of school. But maybe, when we talk, they say, we are too late. They are too lazy. That's why they want to give them work. They want them to work. I'm not saying you should not give them work, but I'm saying look at their mental age. Can they carry this workload? Why should a child go home with 6, 7 assignments? What for? At least maybe we should check. Some people have complained that I don't think it happens in primary school. In primary school, I feel like it's one teacher per class, or maybe with an assistant. So you know the number of homework that you should give to children. If a child has a carryover of homework, it's a different thing. But if every day you have, like, you gave homework in verbal reasoning, you gave homework in the other one they give, then you give maths, how do you want this child to die after all he has gone through in school? And then, funny enough, some of them after school they go for lesson.
Yes, that's it.
You close in school by 2 o'clock, then you go for lesson till 4, then you get home by 5, then you are doing assignment till what time?
Assignment from school,
that-
assignment
that-
from
Avast
is
from class,
unacceptable.
and then it's not
That's
right.
almost half
It's
a day
not half a
of
day. The
mental work.
mental work for a
No,
child.
I think that's
Cognitively,
not-
the child is draining, and he's eventually going to shut down. And we're not helping. Why do they get to secondary school and they're already frustrated? They are seeing school as punishment. In fact, they look at you and say, why must I even go to school? This suffering is too much. And
So I think parents should, schools should
Schools,
be run by
yes.
educationists. Schools
It
should know
should,
better.
yes.
people
Schools
do
should know
schools
better.
as business.
And then parents also should put pressure on schools to say, look, this is too much
This
for
is
our
not-
children.
Yes.
But I remember when one of my children, I think my first child, when he was still in nursery school, I felt the work they were giving him was too much. So what I used to do, I just said, okay, hold the pencil, so that it will be that you that wrote it. Hold the pencil, but I'll hold the pencil with him and write the answers and say, go and give your teacher so that they can be happy. Because I don't know why you are giving a 3-year-old, 4-year-old so much homework. And I went to the school to complain. I said, this boy is supposed to be in nursery school. I don't know any nursery rhyme he has learnt in this school. All people are doing is ABCD 1, 2, 3. Even
Assignment.
there's one they even asked my daughter, her local government chairman. My husband was so upset that day. My husband said, even me, do I know the name of the local government chairman?
I
Why would
mean-
a 4-year-old know her local government or local government chairman? So I was like, why, these things, why don't you reduce, teach them more songs, teach them more nursery rhymes, let them have more fun and all that. The teacher looked at me strangely and then she goes, this thing you're asking for, other parents are asking for the opposite. I'm like, what? That they said we're not even teaching enough in
Lack
the
of
school.
understanding.
I'm like, please, you can be teaching their own children.
Yeah.
Leave my child to play. And I'm not ready to stress my child until they are 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Leave them. Because even at the time they were threatening me that like this boy is going to repeat. I said, eh?
Repeat
what?
nursery school.
Nursery. Because he was a reserved child. I think he refused to talk to his teacher for like a year or 2 before he started talking to the teacher. And then sometimes they bring him out to write on the board. He'll start crying because that's my particular child. He doesn't
An
like
introvert,
attention. Don't call him, don't talk to him, don't tell him to stand in front of them. He'll start crying. He will not talk to you. And they said he will repeat.
And they
At
didn't
3 years.
understand that is the child.
I refused.
That's
why
why,
it's
they,
your
that's the
child, yes.
personality of the child. It's not
I
the-
put my
yeah.
foot down. I told them, instead I'll remove this child from this school. You see this repeating, he's not going to do it. And
Yeah.
he's not holding pencil well. And get lesson teacher. I said
Lesson
teacher
teacher
for
for
who?
who?
They fail to understand that the aim of early child education is to stimulate the child. That's all.
So,
Yes,
for
just
school.
to stimulate them to like learning. So it should be fun. It should be mixed with a lot of things.
Activities.
Yes, activity and everything, so that they will like learning. But I think in our own climes, it's so different.
but I know that somebody has told me that before schools are registered, that whoever is the proprietor or the person running the school needs to have certain qualifications. And I know that you people in education, don't you people train
The
them
truth.
in these things?
no, the truth is that some of these people who have schools are not educationists. If you want to start a school now, what you need is somebody who went to school. You use her certificate to go and do the registration.
Okay.
So you may not, some of them is just a business, So the owner of the school wants to follow what the parents are saying, not what is right. So if you start a school and you are trying to do what is right, you see parents looking at you strangely as if you don't know what you're doing.
But also, but the Ministry of Health, of Education,
Education.
should check and
Yeah.
supervise that these things are being done
That
properly.
is the ideal, but this is Nigeria. If you understand what I mean.
Okay.
So,
Let's move on. So,
yes.
well, if the school is not doing, government is not doing what it's supposed to do, you as a parent should know
Should
what you
do
should do
it,
for
yeah.
your children. because I think these things have long-term
Effects,
consequences.
Yes,
yeah.
they do.
And
Yeah.
one of the things is that the children get tired early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they burn out
Yeah.
early in life, and they don't want to have anything to do with school anymore. And then the next thing we say, our children are stubborn, or we
No,
start
the one demon in their
gathering
village
prayer
is
warriors for them
is
to
worrying
pray
them.
for them. Meanwhile, we're the ones who started the problem. Okay,
Yes.
school health. Yes, and one other thing for school health,
Dental, yes.
dental.
Dental is very important, yes. So at that time, you also check, because that's the formative stage. The milk teeth has come, and maybe about living, how the dental structure is and all that. So there are also dental checks. There's also bone checks, I forgot to say. There's this, as they grow, sometimes they have some type of like scoliosis or structural issues.
That's
So,
bending of the
yes,
back.
bending of the back and all that. So at that time, all those checks are necessary. We think that just going to hospital for prevention or doing those school checks are not necessary. Those are actually necessary so that we can see some things before they come, and then you can
And begin
manage
to
them early.
correct.
You should not wait till the child is ill. You can just take your child, maybe at 5 or 6. It's only vaccination we just had last. We've never ever gone to the hospital. Let's just go and do a good check for the child.
So it's not
That's
only when
encouraged.
children are sick that
Yes,
we go to
yes,
hospital.
yes.
Okay, so okay, we'll do
All
that.
right. So okay, then again, screen time. This is another issue that we've been having. The recommended screen time for any human being is between 2 to 3 hours. So of course, we that we're speaking, I know that we're
Yeah,
culprits.
but let's draw our ears.
Yes.
I'm drawing ear for myself and all of us.
I'm number one culprit in that
Culprit,
one.
yeah,
Yes.
we're all
Yes.
culprit.
So when the child is like a toddler, in fact, when the child is a neonate, newborn, infant, it's not encouraged for
put
them.
them
Yes,
before the
before
screen.
the screen.
But I notice many people use the screen
As
To- as
nannies,
distractors,
to babysit,
yeah.
yes, as nannies. Yes, that is not encouraged. They have studies have shown that it has been associated with some like hyperactive disorders, attention deficit, and all those sort of things in later life. So reduce screen time. That's very important. Yeah, so that age, I think, have we covered a lot of things in that
Yeah,
age?
yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, and that age, school again, because you're going into school and there's a lot of contact with other children, they will now tend to have things like, that's the age that you start having tinea. What do they call that?
Yeah.
Ringworm.
I
Which some people
struggle-
call eczema. but it's not eczema.
I struggle
Ringworm.
with it with my children.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's
Yeah.
a very, that one is very prevalent at
Yeah.
that age.
'Cause
So
they-
you tend to
they-
see
they-
it.
they
Especially
play with
the
each other,
boys.
they
Yes,
make
contact,
Especially
yes.
the boys.
Yes, so that ringworm is there. We also have warts, viral warts. You see them around from contact. These things, of course, we can deal with them in the hospital when they come, but they ought to be treated. Then some other things, because they are sharing boots, they go to the field to play and all that. They share football boots and all that.
What about moms? This
Okay.
one.
So let her finish the
Yes.
football
Okay.
boots and then she'll say the
Yeah.
one.
All right. So the football boots and everything. So they tend to share boots and all that. They tend to have athlete's foot, tinea in the feet and everything. So you
Boys,
also
it's usually boys.
Boys.
yes, it's
Boys.
actually
Boys.
it's usually boys.
Yeah.
If you're a mother of boys, you should have special
we
boots.
I have
We'll
them
even-
3.
Good. We'll even come to their adolescent age where we'll talk about some things, particularly them. So for that, they have to. So you have to tell them about sharing things, how to prevent that, how to air their shoes, because they tend to wear covered shoes, which their fungi tend to thrive in those environments than females. So we have that. Then the hygiene for that age, of course, by now, by 7 they should be able to bathe themselves, wash themselves, and then you emphasize to them the areas that they should concentrate. There are some maybe early secondary school, maybe some go to secondary school about 9 or 10. By then, they should be able to know that if you're in a place that you don't have enough water to have a full body wash, there are some areas you should wash. The places that are exposed to the elements, your face, your neck, then the areas that sweat a lot and secrete a lot of oil, your armpits and your groin area, then your feet that are always covered, and we said you need to wash because fungi and everything. So in the situation where there's lack, concentrate on that. If there's full wash, also concentrate on those areas. I think that's
She
basically
asked about moms.
mumps, viral. So again, under 5s usually, but sometimes because the viral thing comes like an epidemic, and then everybody gets it.
Right.
It's a viral thing, and it usually goes on its own. But you actually, because the virus is passed by saliva, when you share cups and everything, somebody else
Hi.
And
can
children
have
watch.
it.
Hi,
Oh,
they
that's
will.
not share.
They
But-
must share.
But you know, it's the inflammation of the salivary glands, particularly
Okay.
the parotid. It's a bit painful.
Okay.
But the thing is that after some time, it can actually affect for males the testes.
yeah,
Yes,
some of them,
orchitis.
you see this place
Yes,
also
it can.
swollen.
Yes, those are. I think you're talking of lymph nodes. Is that what you're
Lymph
talking
I
nodes.
think
of?
so.
It's
Mm.
lymph nodes, but it can affect
Yes,
the
it
testes.
can affect
and
the
cause
testes
infertility.
It can cause
Okay.
infertility in future. In future.
Okay.
So once, particularly a boy child has, please, in fact, all the children, bring them to the hospital. We know what to check for.
Okay.
So
So don't
Don't
yes,
treat
don't
them yourself.
Don't treat
and
them
let's
yourself.
encourage them not to share things. I know some, despite everything you say,
You will, they will still
they
share.
must share, especially the boys. The boys, they must share things.
Yeah, that
But
should
you
be
keep
possible.
having to
Remind
to
them,
them and
yes,
them-
yes, remind
and
them.
remind them.
So as they move, are we done with the school aged?
Yeah,
Or
is
is
there
there other
anything
thing
we've
we
left
need to-
about-
I think basically.
Or school year. And then to just re-emphasize their need for enough sleep.
Yes, they
Enough
do need
sleep.
enough
So
sleep.
keeping that reduced screen time would also help
Help,
them get
yes,
enough
yes,
sleep
yes.
because
And-
of the
Yes,
assignments
Yeah.
that
yes.
they give them.
And
So
please, children should this issue of lesson after school. Please, my husband used to say that, especially during holidays, this long vacation, they will now come and say the school is running vacation school.
Holiday.
My
yeah.
husband says, so those who set the school in place and put vacation, they don't know what they are doing. Abi. There is no holiday lesson. A child has gone through a school period and it is holiday time. Let the child be on holiday. And I don't know why we stress these children
you
that
don't know
much.
why.
I don't,
The
We
challenge-
live in a competitive. I
And
think.
yes,
I think
sometimes
that
the competition, and then sometimes when the results have come out, your children haven't performed well. So you want to use the
maybe you
holiday.
should look for why they have not performed well
So, yeah,
first.
that's why you need holiday teacher now. They have decided that they haven't learned well. So you get a lesson teacher or register them in a holiday school. And then people also feel, how do you just leave children
not doing
doing nothing
anything.
for 2-3
There's
months?
so much
There's
they
so much
can
I-
do during
Yes.
holiday. There's
You give them
so
to do.
much they can do
What
during
else apart
holiday.
from schoolwork?
There's so much they can do during holiday.
What else now? See, I'm asking
These
you.
children, these children can play
Play.
Read books,
football,
read for
read
enjoyment.
fun, read fun
Yes.
books. My son used to like
Go
books with a
hiking,
lot of
camping.
pictures,
comics.
comic books. Let them go
Find
out,
hobbies.
find
join.
maybe you can even help your children to learn how to swim during those periods. I wish I did that. Let
Yes,
them learn
those
how
life
to
skills.
swim. Yes.
Cooking,
Let them learn how to
swimming.
cook. Let the girls learn how to make pastries.
What of the boys? Where is
Even
the
how
girls?
to
Yes,
let
all
them,
the
all the
children.
children
Why is
learn
it
how
girls?
to make pastries, how to braid, so that you can braid yourselves. You don't need to go. Learn so many fun things you can do during holiday. It doesn't. Why should you be in school from January to December? Why? You should have. There should be a period where your brain should rest, and then you should do other things.
You just pointed. We missed this point. Exercise.
Yeah.
That age particularly, you should have at least an hour physical exercise, moderate to
Their age.
yes, moderate to higher levels of exercise during that age. In fact, everybody should have at least 1 hour.
So
of
all
exercise.
this telling
That
our children sit in
age,
one place is
that
not good.
age,
Ah,
that's
no.
where we start seeing obesity,
Yeah.
particularly among the high class parents. That's where, because the way the children eat, and then they are sedentary.
Sitting
They are
down in
sitting
one
down, they are
place.
doing assignments, watching TV and all that. So at that age, we want them to be free. We want them to ride bicycles, jog, run around the house, and
So
climb
send them out
trees.
of the house. So
Yes,
go outside
Yes, go
outside
outside
and
and play.
play,
It's very
yeah.
important for them.
These days, people hardly play.
Yes.
People hardly-
People live in silos now.
Yes.
They just stay within their compound. In those days, we used to do osmosis. You know that there's somebody your age in
In
that
that
compound. You
house.
will go there, But now I think everybody just keeps their children.
Sometimes the security,
Yes, has made
people
it
are worried
worse.
about security issues, both physical and spiritual.
Ah,
Spiritual security, everybody is a suspect,
Mm.
enemy everywhere.
Enemy everywhere.
So everybody is scared. But we should be deliberate about it. Even if you decide they shouldn't play with other people, let them go outside
Yes,
and play.
You
let them
should
play.
have friends. Maybe you should have friends that you can take your children to go and play.
I told you now.
You
Haven't
know?
we said it before that some people don't believe in friends? We've told them. We've said
God,
we should encourage
that's
our children to
sad.
have a social life,
Yes.
to have friends. But there are some people who don't. They even tell you, I
But-
don't believe in friendship. I don't believe in
But
it."
that's very that's
That's
a
sick,
form
man.
of abuse, because we pediatricians, when you come, we actually assess the child for social and developmental milestones. There are some social milestones that the child should have.
You see?
At socially, we ask you what are your friends, what do you talk about, and all that. It's an attainment to show that the child is maturing.
So parents are saying you don't believe in friendship. That means you're abusing your children. No, so that they will know you're abusing your
Yes.
children and you're not allowing your children to develop properly.
Yes.
So please, let's allow them to make friends, but let's teach them how to make.
yes,
Friends.
yes,
Right type
friends,
of
the
friends.
right type
Exactly.
of friends.
Exactly.
Okay. we move.
Yes, yes. Then before we move now, you know we are moving to adolescence, right?
Yeah.
There's a nagging problem a lot of parents have, and they're worried about it. It shouldn't be a problem because it's the bedwetting. You know, remember that one?
Yeah, yeah.
It's when I saw you, I say, oh,
Very
my
important.
chief's area. Let me
Yeah.
mention it.
Bedwetting.
Yes.
Please talk about
Yes.
it because many children have been traumatized.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yes.
because of bedwetting.
In fact, some have been called witches for bedwetting.
Uh-uh.
They will beat you. In fact, there's a story of, but she's a house help and a young one. They say that is witchcraft.
That is
So
making her
bed
bedwet.
anyway, so the bedwetting, of course, there's as a child grows, the bladder grows and gets capacity. So we don't expect that they will immediately know how to hold urine. So we start seeing that they are able to control maybe around from 3. Some people are lucky,
Yeah.
and then up to 5 years. But we don't get worried. It starts. We know that they do. Some children take it up to 7 or this. A lot of people will not really start real treatment or real management till the child is about 12. So anything before that, maybe like by 5, maybe 50% will have controlled it. By 7, 75%. Then maybe by 11, maybe 95%. Will the small after 12, yes, this is a problem. We'll start really looking at it.
Looking at it.
Yes, so it's something, some people are late and some people are early, and it can be many causes, genetic and all that.
So what would you advise parents who have children who bedwet?
So I think the first thing is first come to the hospital. We can tell you if this is, because there are some that are caused by something. So we will tell you, we'll first investigate and tell you if it's the type that we call benign. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just physiological. We'll explain that over
With
time.
time.
Yes, it will. Then if there's something else, we can deal with it. So I think the best bet is come to see the pediatrician.
So what we're saying is, please don't beat your children for bedwetting.
Please don't.
Please don't beat your children.
Don't
for
put
bedwetting.
pepper in their bum bum.
Hey,
Thank you.
yes,
Don't do that.
pepper in a child's
And
bum
don't.
bum.
What is that thing they do? They even if they don't beat you,
Those
you
disgrace.
emotionally.
Yes,
abuse
abuse
the
the
Disgrace
child.
the
child.
child.
Yes.
Disgrace the
It's
Because
even
child.
counterproductive
Yeah,
when
because
they do
nobody.
that.
I don't think anybody wants to bed wet.
No.
Why do you want to sleep on wet urine?
Mm.
For goodness sake, it's even very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Nobody wants. They say the children are lazy. They don't want to stand
No,
up
no,
and,
no, no.
and go and urinate. That they sleep too much. What's that? Don't you want your children to sleep? Please, let's not abuse children physically or mentally because they bed wet. They'll get
Yes,
over it
yes,
as time goes
most
on. And
of
if
them
there's a
get over
problem,
it.
please go to the hospital and
And seek
talk with the
help,
doctor,
yes.
seek help. And don't think you use I had a cousin, yes, let me just bring it up. I had a second cousin, well, growing up, she's older than us, but she bedwet till her teens. And back home then, well, I didn't see, but I think my mom told me the story, that they had to take her and tie a python around her waist to
God.
stop her from bedwetting. Because so you can imagine the psychological trauma
Hey,
she
God.
went through. But of course, it didn't stop her bedwetting.
Of course,
Yeah,
now,
it
you
will.
know.
She stopped when she was ready to stop. Yeah,
Exactly.
it didn't stop her. But looking back, I'm like, this must have been very
Traumatic.
Traumatizing.
or traumatizing. So let's both psychological, native. Let's not do all those things. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have moved slowly.
All right. But now we'll go on break and then we'll come back. We'll take it up from there. So parents, we've been talking about raising our children, godly children. We've been focusing on the physical issues. Today we've talked about school, preparing children for school, when children should go to school, and Mrs. Namo has told all of us, all this lesson, holiday lesson, she's not a part of it. She's telling us not to do that.
No.
And Dr. Ada has also reminded us that our children, school age, they need about 10 hours of sleep and reduce screen time. So let's work on that. We'll go on break, and when we come back, we'll continue this interesting conversation. So please don't touch that dial. See you right after the break. Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children's mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions. We want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room. So viewers, welcome back from the break. My name is Amaka Ocheke, and we have been here at the Living Room of Equa Television International. We've been talking about raising godly children, and we're focusing on the physical aspects about raising children. We've talked about, before we went on break, we talked about reducing screen time, giving children enough time to play, not rushing children into going to school. They reminded us that school age is 5 to 6 years, not 3 years. 3 years is for playing and having fun, and encouraging our children to be involved in at least 1 hour of mild to severe or physical activity every day. So let the children go outside, ride bicycle, play, and reduce. Don't be doing holiday lesson. Holidays should be time to learn skills: how to bake, how to cook, how to plait hair, how to swim, and do other fun things. Somebody even said camping. I don't know how.
Hiking
that
and
is
Yeah,
something, but,
hiking.
hiking and camping. She will tell us how. So we've been here with Dr. Ruth Ada and Mrs. Ivy Namo talking about this. So back to you. We're about to go to secondary school now.
Yes,
That's
so
where we are. Adolescents.
Adolescents.
Yes.
All right, so adolescents are quite tricky because this is a transition. They are just leaving childhood and they are moving into
They are not yet
adulthood.
adults.
Yes, so they are neither here or there. So there are a lot of things that are happening at that time. The UN says adolescents about 10 to 19 years, but some people start seeing these changes in adult from 8 years old. So in a girl, if she starts seeing changes, puberty and everything from 8 years old, she's still somehow biologically in that group. So, but before 8 years, when we start seeing signs of puberty, this is what we call precocious puberty.
Go
But
to hospital.
Yes,
So
please go to hospital. when
you're
you
less
see
than
that.
8 is having breasts,
Mhm.
is menstruating,
Yes.
is having
yes.
hair in the armpit.
Yes.
Please go to hospital.
Please go to hospital. It's not. Then the boys come a little later, 9, 10. So the girls always tend to mature before the boys. And there's usually a pattern we see for the girls. The breast comes out, the hair come out and all that. The breast usually first before the hair. So, of course, then the menses. So that adolescent health, for the females, we want to talk more of menses. And this I will hand over to you.
Well, what I would just say is
Yes.
parents should just have that conversation with children.
Yes.
Let it not meet them unprepared. So let's have the conversation. I know that for many parents, the older generation is a difficult conversation to have. People don't want to talk about it. We find it embarrassing, but you just have to find a way to have that conversation with your children, both males and females. You need to tell them about the things their body is going to, what's going to happen in their bodies, the changes that would occur, how to prepare for it. When it comes to also menstruation, what brings about menstruation, how to take care of themselves, the hygiene, how to use sanitary towels, how to wash up, how to clean up, and all that. You should have that conversation with your daughters and your sons before the things happen, so that when it's happening, yes, they are not surprised. Because I know of somebody who wasn't told anything. She told me nobody told her anything about menstruation. And the first day she menstruated, there were visitors in the parlor. She just carried her pant like that with the blood, came crying to this living room and like, mommy, 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 see, you know. And that wasn't very nice. Her parents were embarrassed. But if they had had that conversation with her, she would have known that this is not something abnormal and something to look forward to. And when it happens, that is not an illness, and to have an idea what to do, so that nobody is panicking. And then at that point too, we should also be talking about sex education. We should begin to talk to our children about sex education. Don't wait for them to be told in school. They may not tell them what you want them to hear. So begin to tell them, because if you don't tell them, they are going to hear it somewhere. And what they will hear may not be what is correct. And when we talk about sex education, let it be age appropriate and let it be correct and truthful. Please don't tell your daughters that if a man touches them, they'll get pregnant. That's a lie.
Yeah, that's what they told
That's
us
a lie.
when we were growing up.
Tell them how they will be touched and they'll get pregnant. It's sex that will get them pregnant, not that you touch somebody. Because they'll go and touch, nothing happens. They'll say, it's not true. Then they may continue the further touchings that will now get pregnant. So let's talk to them about sexual health and what is expected, and the Christian approach to their sexuality, so that you are feeling one kind, you are attracted to a boy, you are attracted to a girl. It's not an abnormal feeling, but how to deal with these feelings, we should be able to have that conversation and provide answers when they come to you, and not take drastic actions. I have a relative who told me when in where she lived, some lesbian lady was making sexual advances at her, and she went to tell her mother. Her mother's response was to grind pepper and put in her genitals.
Her own, the victims, or the
victim's mother. So she says, she told me that I never will tell my mom
anything
again.
And that's not where you want your children to be. We all want our children, or the ideal thing is to have your children in a safe place where they can talk to you about anything, underline anything. So they can talk to you about anything. The approach may not be correct, but you correct them in love and show them what to do. Because if you don't, they'll go behind you and do things you don't want. So it's better we have this conversation and have the right conversation. Okay.
And that's why we call it in psychology sexuality education. It's not just sex education. It's a holistic, because your girls are going to have crushes, your boys are going to have crushes, and when they talk to you about it and you scream, so they will still have it in secret.
Exactly. But they will not now tell you.
I did a training some years ago, and a girl, an undergraduate student, met me and said her mother said the day she will see her with a boy, she's going to kill her.
Wonderful.
An undergraduate student, if you see her with a boy, you will kill her. That thought. Her mother has never seen her with a boy, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have a boyfriend.
Can you imagine?
You know, so let's be very careful when we make some of these unattainable statements. If you ask that mother, will she actually kill her daughter if she sees her with a boy?
Then she should explain what she means by seeing her with a boy. Because because I see people, people complain. Somebody says, my parents told me that they didn't want to see me with a boy, they didn't want me talking to any boy, whatever. Then she graduates from school, university, and then say, where is husband?
Where is husband?
Please, where would the husband come from?
Exactly. So we should talk. We should let them tell us what is going on in their mind, how they feel, and then let them know that some of these feelings are not evil. Don't start commanding and binding what is not supposed to be binded and commanded. Because the child binding and casting. All right, don't be binding and casting what is not there. When a child tells you something, I think it's time to talk. You know, people have asked me, when should we start the sexuality talk? I said you start at the time when the children start asking questions. or you
Do
can
it for
even
them.
talk. You can even start talking to them about their body parts.
Yes.
You know, telling them about their body part before they even start asking you questions. And then while you talk to them about their body parts, once in a while they might want to ask you a question concerning this and that. And like Prof said, please be truthful.
If you know the answer,
Don't call their penis. Don't call it carrot. It's not carrot. It's penis. Talk to them. Let them know what these things are, and why they should keep it. It is their own. It's private to them, and why they should protect it. Talk to them about these predators, people who want to take advantage of them. You know, and those ones have sweet words. Let them know that there's nothing they cannot tell you, because somebody will tell them that if you tell your mother, she will not believe you. Let them know that their mother will believe them if they tell them anything.
some is not even
Their
that your mother will not
parents.
believe it. They will
Their
say that your mother will die.
Yeah.
So I told my
Threats,
children, do I look
yeah.
like somebody that will
Yeah,
die?
because
they
you told me something.
I said I will not die. Anything they do that is not correct, tell me. And then for my children, I've even gone further, not just to say the things people do.
Yeah.
If anybody makes you feel uncomfortable,
Comfortable.
sometimes
Yes,
there are
yes,
some people
yes.
they don't say anything, but the way
Yes.
they look
Look
at
at
you,
you,
there's some
yeah.
people they use their eye, they've removed your clothes.
Yeah.
The way they look at you,
Yeah.
the way there's a way they just behave.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you can't put a finger to it to say this is what the person did, but
Yeah.
the person just makes you
you
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, speak out. And my children have told me, there are people
Yeah.
they've told me even in my neighborhood
Please, I
that
don't
make
like
them
the
feel
way you are
uncomfortable.
looking at me.
I said, please don't go there. Don't buy anything from that shop anymore.
Exactly.
We can go. We look for another shop where we go. That's where you go to buy
Exactly.
things. Don't talk to that person. Just
Exactly.
avoid that person, because those kind of people. Even if what are you going to say? If you say my daughter
say,
said,
what did I-
you
yes,
say
no
what did I
proof,
say? What did I do?
Mm-hmm.
But they make you feel uncomfortable. The way
Yeah.
they look at you. The way,
Yeah.
so you need to teach your children those things
Yeah.
and to avoid those kind of people.
Yeah. And I think that mothers should be very sensitive, because I know that we will say that even fathers too, but I'm particular about mothers because a lot of girls have been abused by their uncles, by their
Oh.
by their
figures.
fathers, even father, not just
father
father
figures.
figure, but even their
Own
biological fathers. That's why, as mothers, we have to be very sensitive. We should train our children to say no, even if it is daddy. Say no and come and tell me. And you know, your children should feel free to tell you anything that is not right, and that's because you have taught them what the things that are not right
And also
are.
for the male children,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
And
there's
the male
increasing-
children
there's
increasing,
increasing,
yes,
Yeah.
abuse
abuse
of
of
male
Female
children,
house
yes.
helps.
Yeah,
Female
house
house
help,
help.
female
Yes.
house help.
fellow men.
Yeah,
Yes, and fellow men.
Yeah, also
yes.
abusing your boys. So
Yeah.
you should.
So because of this issue of homosexuality, now we are beginning to tell children that abuse does not just come from your opposite sex. Abuse can come from same
yeah.
sex. Just know what is not right. If a girl like you is touching you inappropriately, you should stand up to her and say no, and should be able to report her to appropriate quarters and find help. And I think it will help for our children who are entering secondary
schools,
school,
yeah.
especially those
Even at
going
home.
to boarding schools, even those at home. So many children have been abused in boarding school, and they come back. I know a young boy who came back home during holiday and said he wasn't going back to school again. And the mother was like, why? And he didn't say anything. He just said, I don't want to go back to that school. I thought it was time for the mother to sit down and say,
Parents
tell
won't.
me exactly what happened. I won't judge you, whatever it is. I just want to know. Why don't you want to go back? And they called him lazy. They told
start
him
shouting.
he doesn't like, he's very lazy, he doesn't like school, that he must go back to that school. And they took him back, not knowing that he was running away from a boy who wanted to introduce him to drugs. And over time, when he got to JS3, he couldn't resist the boy anymore, and
He
he started taking drugs. By the time the parents would get to know, he was already in SS2. He was about to train a boy
Another person. Man.
into drugs, and the school caught them. So he was now a very bad scenario. They had to expel him from school. And that was when he reminded the mother that When
not
I
tell
was
you.
in JS1, I told you I didn't want to go back to that school, but you didn't do anything about it.
Sometimes
We take a
parents'
lot of
lack
things
of
for
sensitivity
granted.
is just
Yeah,
amazing.
It can be
amazing.
I've heard of
very-
a child who says she's no more doing lesson.
And you cannot ask
The mother
why.
said she must do lesson. She said she doesn't want to do that lesson again.
Yeah.
She doesn't want. They kept shouting. Then she now says, okay, it's only on one condition, that her brother sits with her during the lesson. A
Of course,
mother
you
that
should
has
be
sense.
thinking-
Should begin
Yes.
to
But the
think.
parents didn't think.
Very obtuse.
The lesson teacher was sexually abusing this child,
You see?
but the parents didn't pick it.
I think they won't.
And I just find it very amazing that look, you don't know your children. Your children are crying for help.
And you
and you don't
cannot,
identify
you
it.
can't get it.
No,
You know.
it's
A lot of
wrong.
these children, before they get to the point where it becomes bad, most of them have given red flags
Yes.
to their parents, and they've ignored such red flags. You know, my friend used to say that she became so sensitive to her, especially girl child, to the point that even when her daughter is sitting with her husband, she's looking with one side eye.
Bro,
Because
you don't have to be
you know,
paranoid.
she that I said to her, you don't have to be paranoid, like she said, but she said no, it's not that she's paranoid, though. She's just being very careful, and you know, she made sure her daughters were very close to her, so that they could tell her anything. I think
Yeah.
parents should get
If you
to
create,
that
if
point.
you create that safe environment
Yeah.
for the children to talk to you, they will talk to you
Boys
about
and
everything.
girls,
They will.
yes.
And tell them that they can talk to you about
Tell
anything.
them, yeah.
That nothing is, no topic is sacrosanct.
Yes.
You know, they can talk about anything. So if they have any problems, they should feel free to talk
Yeah.
to you, so that they are sure that you're not shouting. It's a
Yeah.
safe environment where they can talk, and whatever they tell you will not
Don't
leave
leave.
the confines of where you have
the
had that
home, yes.
discussion. Then you find out that your children will
Talk to you.
talk to you,
Yeah.
and even if you don't have the answers,
Yeah.
you can say, look, I'll get back to you on this, I'll check, I'll find out. Don't, as you said, don't pretend that
That
you know
you know,
everything.
yeah.
We are human now, you can't know everything.
True.
And that also calls again, parents, you must be praying,
Mm.
you know, this spirit of discernment, you need it for parenting. You
Mm-hmm.
must, every parent, you need to be a prayer person for your children, and ask God for spirit of discernment. You must have insight
Mm-hmm.
to what is going on. Even when your children are not saying it, you should be able to pick up something is not
Something is
right
wrong,
with this my
yeah,
child,
yes.
and find out what it is.
Yes.
Okay, back to
Yes.
school. Time is going.
So we're still at adolescence, the
Yes.
adolescent age. So of course that age, that's where the hormones and the growth hormones and then the sexual hormones come. So there's a lot of physical growth, physical changes at the same time, sexual changes. So, and a lot of these things also have effect on the brain. That's why sometimes you will see an adolescent, he looks big, but he has a child. You'll be
He has
wondering,
not matured.
his brain is, you understand, and that age, that's why, who was that in the Bible that was saying, do not be a cause, let your youth not be despised.
Yeah, Paul was writing to Timothy.
Yeah,
Yes,
Timothy,
yes,
yes.
because you can easily
Paul,
be
Timothy,
foolish
Paul,
at that
yes,
age.
yeah.
So now they have those sexual urges. It is normal. It's a physiological thing. At this age, we hope that by what they are taught at home, in church, and in school, they are able to do the right things with their urges. Then, for their physical changes, the boys, the testosterone they have makes them have very large muscular mass. You understand? And then it's a bit, they have some aggression at that age. It should be channeled well into exercises, sports, and everything, because they can be aggressive at that age. So they should be able to control their manliness at that age. What else? We've talked about alcohol and then addiction at that
We'll
age.
talk
Yes.
about it in
Addiction. So at that, then they tend to do injuries, sports injuries, because of the adolescents move around and all that. So we teach them how safety, things about safety at school, safety at home, and whenever they are going. They're the ones that ride bikes. If you go to town and maybe Salah or this thing, you see it's the adolescents going around or taking
buy a
daddy's
keke
car.
and
Don't-
doing rough things.
yes, they haven't learned how to drive very well. They are taking their father's car keys because that's about
They
the
haven't
age.
fully learned consequences.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think
They
that's
haven't fully understood
Yeah.
yes, the
consequences.
consequences. Yes, then that age again, we remember that apart from the infant age where there's very large growth, adolescent is another one. So nutrition is very important. Unfortunately for them, no one is really taking care of them. Then they have activities, they are running to school and everything. They actually can be undernourished in that age. And they need that nourishment because a lot of them, like the females, need to build body fats in some certain areas. So they need another balanced diet and healthy snacking too.
They eat
in
a lot,
that
so
age.
parents also complain. They finish
Especially
their
the
money.
boys.
They like
need
me
the
when my
food.
children
Especially
come
the
home,
boys.
it's
They
as
need
if
the
locusts visited my house. Just go, woo,
Food
The
will
food
just be
finishes.
everything
going.
finishes.
Food will just
But
be
they
going.
need it.
Yeah, so when they are
They
coming
need
home, I have to go shopping, buy things, keep, and then by the time they are leaving, everything is finished. As if
Yes.
yeah,
So
locusts visited my
yes,
house.
they have another metabolism is happening extra apart from when they left school age. So they need to be fed. They have to be reminded. Remember, they are doing so many things they might
So
not.
they need to be reminded
Yes.
to also eat
Yes,
well.
eat well. Yes.
It's the girls most times that don't like eating well because they want to
They'll
keep
keep their hair. That's another
this
thing.
place very
At that
slim.
age,
It's
they
not
can
only
be
to
having
keeping slim, or sometimes they don't like
body-
the food they are cooking in the house. Like they want snacks, biscuit, meat pie, cake,
They have to put your
juice.
foot
My
down.
daughter.
That's what
They have
they
to
want.
put
So
your
you
foot
need to
down.
put your
Yes.
foot down
They
and
have
this
to
is
eat
that
well.
they eat healthy.
That age, they also tend to have body dysmorphism, because they are seeing a lot of things on
Ma,
screen.
please, can you break it
Yeah,
down?
she's about to break it
Okay,
down now.
so the society has a standard of beauty,
Okay.
and as they are growing, they might think they might be looking at that as a point of
Standard.
attainment. Yes.
Standard.
So, and they are not attaining that point. They start having issues psychologically, socially,
So
and all
body
that.
image issues.
Yes, body image issues. Yes,
Problem.
is a problem for
So
them
their
at that
body is
age.
not how people say
See
them.
it's the standard of beauty.
Yes.
Sometimes the legs are long, the hands are long. You're like, where are all these things going? So body is still trying to
Yes,
balance.
yes.
Doesn't balance fully, but they think that this is how they should be. So
And
body
they'll
image
start doing
issues.
different things when they have not
Yeah,
even
so-
yes.
I think the entertainment industry
It's
is not
doing a lot of harm.
It's not helping because
not.
they are the ones that design the body image thing, and they make it look like that's what is perfect. And so every girl or boy want to cue into that six-pack thing for the boys. Even when you are not supposed to have six packs, you want to go six-pack.
So we
And
should build up their self,
Yes.
their body image, their
Yes.
self-esteem.
Yes.
Because sometimes that body image issue that also makes them do the wrong things.
Yes.
Yes, it
Their
can make them.
self-esteem is
Yes.
poor.
Yes.
So they do the wrong things. That's why they're easily influenced to do drugs, do alcohol,
Yes.
sleep around
Yes.
because you want to belong.
Yes.
You
Peer
maybe
pressure
think you're
and
not
all
fine
that.
enough.
No.
Yeah.
You're not handsome enough. So you want to
Yeah.
tell them to calm down.
Yes.
The beauty is you're already beautiful,
Yes.
and more beauty is coming.
Yes. And then they should have that basic hygiene. We started talking from we didn't go back. That baby, because at that age the hormones now act on their sweat and their oil glands. So adolescents tend to smell
They
a
they
little.
smell
They're
a lot.
not-
Not
Not
a
smell
little.
a little,
They
they
smell
Smell a
smell.
lot, not a little.
smell a
So
lot.
please remind them about their washes,
Their
they're using their deodorants and all that.
I'm
And
always
then
calling their attention
rooms,
to
their
it,
rooms,
yes.
because their brains are, remember their brains are not yet settled. They
Scattered.
might, yes. So
Their
keep their
rooms.
shoes, air their shoes outside and all
Everything
that.
around them is smelling. Anyway, they're wanting us to close.
Oh.
Ruth is like you're still coming again.
Yeah, we have not
Except you
finished.
want me to
Yeah.
deal with adults now. Have we not done adolescents?
Adolescent, but we have not finished
We have
yet.
not
Yes.
finished
Yeah,
our
we are
adolescent
still-
age, yeah.
So maybe we'll come one more time and then we'll finish.
Okay.
So, viewers, thank you so much for staying with us. They said we should go. Somebody is there by the corner. It's just that the camera is not showing her. I wish the camera could turn to see her. She's looking at us sternly and saying, round up and go. So, we have to leave at this point. We've talked about raising godly children again. Today, we've stressed about sex
School age.
education, school age issues.
Adolescents.
Checks, school checks.
Yes, the checks that they have to do before they go to school, and adolescent issues,
yes, adolescent
low
issues,
self-esteem,
esteem.
and stuff like that. And the fact that they smell a lot, so we need to help them. But say it nicely. Say it nicely. And encourage them and provide the care products that they
Yes,
need.
yes.
It's not enough to tell them they are smelly. Make sure you provide soap, you provide deodorant,
Yes.
and all the other
Don't
things.
let
that
them
they
go
need.
and look for it outside.
Yes,
Provide
don't let
it
them look for it outside.
Yeah.
Even sanitary towel, let them
Yes.
not look for it outside though. Make sure you provide. Parents, do your best. I know things are hard, but do the best you can as parents to provide all we need for our kids. So, Mrs. Ivy Namo, Dr. Ruth Ada, thank you so much for staying with us. Viewers, thank you for not touching that dial, and we're looking forward to see you again. Same time, same place, the living room on Equa Television. And as I also said, please, parents, you must be a prayer warrior over these your children.
Yeah.
And if, aside from all the other gifts they are looking for, ask the Lord for a gift of discernment.
Discernment.
You must be discerning for
Important.
these your children, so that we'll solve problems early before they become big issues. Thank you so much. See you next time. God bless you as we keep living for Jesus.
Bye.
Bye.